Alright, so today we're going to be making a brand new tier list, ranking every meta unit in Anime Last Stand, as of the most recent Quality of Life update, Update 74. Keep in mind this tier list is just my own opinion, but I still hope you find the video helpful. If you do, maybe leave a like or subscribe. But anyways, let's get into it. First of all, happy Halloween. How are you guys doing? Hopefully pretty good today. I'm very tired personally because the maintenance was very long. And to save ourselves some time, I'm going to use my tier list from my last tier list video. And we're going to start from there, make some changes, and add the new people. Yuta, I'm going to move down to the good tier. He's just kind of like getting power creep. These guys in the meta overall tier are, in my opinion, going to be stronger than Yuta in most cases, but he's still good for debuffing, good for damage, especially for copying certain people, and pretty okay nuke for progressive as well. I'm also going to move down Shadow, and he's kind of a weird one, because he could be arguably at the bottom of Meta Infinite for his nuke, kind of, his 2 nukes that he has at max upgrade, and he could be maybe in good, like for raw damage, kind of like over here or something. But personally, I think if you're using Shadow, you're probably using him for his permanent Despair passive, and I'm going to rank him into the support tier for that. I'm also going to move down Wonder of You to Meta Early. I think that's kind of what he specializes in, with a 1k placement cost and very good damage and passives on placement. He's another one where he could be like arguably support, arguably meta overall still, but I don't know, we're clearing out space in meta overall if you couldn't tell, because we have some very strong units that we got today. I'm also going to move the Halloween Part 2 units down a bit, Zamasu and Goku Black. I'm not sure if they're bugged, I don't think they're bugged, but like their passives have really weird wording. The description of their nuking ability reads like it should be doing like 10 times what it actually does, I don't know. And for some reason the passive that makes them immune to stun doesn't fully work all the time. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm moving them down. Goku Black and Zamasu going probably right about here. And my final change to meta overall, I'm going to move down Ainz, because originally when he first dropped he was bugged, and I didn't realize he was bugged because he had another weird passive like Goku Black where I'm not sure if it's the writing of the passive or if it's actually broken or what. Pretty much his damage was a lot higher than it should have been, and we're going to move him down a little bit. And then finally in the good tier, I'm going to move up Judar into support because I feel like he's actually pretty good debuffer and good for stalling enemies. Now we can actually get into ranking the new divine boosted people. First up, Cosmic Garo, the Godly, and in my opinion probably the second best unit in the game, second best Godly for sure. He still has his leader buff, which is really good for crit damage, crit chance. He does have way slower SPI in placement now though. I don't know, this guy pretty much has everything now. Not quite as much as Rimuru, but he does have like 15 passives and abilities that I recommend you should watch my showcase video for, because I'm not going over every single one right now. But he does have really good damage and nuking abilities, and rewinding and boss killing passives that are pretty strong. Overall just really good for everything, but he's pretty hard to explain. For Jotaro, or Heavenly Chad, I feel like a lot of people might be underrating this guy compared to the other divine boosts we got this update, because he's really good. Put him pretty high in meta overall, probably right about here. Pretty much he is really good for raw damage. A lot of it is from crit damage buffs as well, crit chance and crit damage, which is really high scaling in this game, very very good. He's also a really good debuffer or support unit, especially if you run him with Dio. He has a new effect called Overwrite, I think, which can pretty much just make enemies take more damage from all sources, which is really good. Overall, Jotaro is just really good for everything, especially if you run him with Dio, because they both get full AoE and a bunch of different time-stopping things. The divine boost for Gremmy is actually pretty weird. This guy becomes like a 12 placement if you don't have Glitch on him, if you have like Shinigami, which I think makes it his optimal trait. He costs 100 to place down, so he's definitely going in meta early, I think. Even though he's arguably meta overall, I put him in meta early because he just feels like he fits right there. I don't know, he's gonna shine the most on placement, I think. You can place down so many of them for very cheap, and he also clones himself every now and then. Overall, he just gets really crazy because every placement of him has like different effects that they alternate between. He has so much AoE coverage and like different effects being applied for, once again, a very cheap placement cost of 100. I think he belongs in meta early for sure. But he is also pretty cheap to fully max out with a cost of 200k, and does have a pretty strong nuke, so I don't know. Definitely could be meta overall, but I think Gremmy, in my opinion, going in meta early because he fits there so well, only costing 100. Now the divine boost for Dante is one where you have to run a certain soul to get the full value of him, and it is the Soul of Jackpot, which generally, the Soul of Jackpot is not very good. Dante is kind of conditional in that way, because that's how you unlock his like follow-up attack passive, which is a pretty good amount of his damage, and also how you ramp up his combo meter faster. Pretty much he has a combo bar that can unlock like a different mode, a different form for him, and get him a lot more damage. If you fully ramp up the combo bar, his damage is pretty good, especially for being perfect seal. I would definitely throw him into meta overall, but like at the same time, kinda RNG, does take setup, and if you're running with the Soul of Jackpot and Virgil, his damage is really good. I don't know, I guess Dante's just kinda conditional. Now for Giorno. A little bit like Dante, in the way that you have to run a certain soul on him to get the most value. But unlike Dante, that soul is actually a really good one, because Giorno has to run the Soul of Requiem, and the Soul of Requiem is usually the best thing you can run on any nature unit. Now for Giorno, the Soul of Requiem is going to help him out a lot, because it's going to be really good for stunning bosses and slowing them down, and he does unlock a Requiem mode after a long time of ramping up the soul. But for Giorno himself, what the unit does is not really raw damage. He's not really a raw DPS type of guy. He's really good as a support. I'm going to throw him into the support tier. Right away on placement, he has access to a couple of very strong rewinding abilities, and while his own personal damage isn't great, he does spawn in little scorpions on the track which are going to scale off enemy HP. I think because of the percent base damage and rewinding abilities, this guy is very, very good for infinite runs for sure. Could be meta infinite. But he's really valuable in any game mode as a support unit, and I'll keep him in a pretty high spot in the support tier. The final divine boost we have to talk about is Benimaru. And this guy is really good, really strong. Kind of like Dante and Giorno, you have to run a soul on him to get the maximum value. But it is the best soul for fire units anyway, so it kind of makes sense to use it on him. But all it really helps him with is unlocking one of his nuke abilities, and that nuke is only unlocked after using his other nuke ability. Otherwise, with Benimaru, he is a cheap hybrid unit, so meta early for sure. Really good burn damage through Black Flame and I think Blaze on his own. But if you run other people with burn on your team, or I guess like Rimuru to buff burn even more, Benimaru can get some really crazy value. Oh shoot, by the way, one more unit I forgot to move down. Mob. Mob is going down into the good tier. He's definitely not bad. They did like kind of patch his infinite damage thing I made a video on. But he is still pretty good support with good damage as well. I feel like he's just kind of getting power crept like a lot of people I moved down from meta overall into the good tier. But back on topic with Benimaru, yeah, this guy's very OP on the right team. I'm throwing him into very high meta overall. I think he's really good. A couple of you might disagree and maybe say I'm glazing. I don't know. I was never really a fan of Benimaru back in the day, when he was meta like 3 different times. I feel like he's just really OP this time. And finally, we're done with the Divine Boost, but we have the Battle Pass unit. She's very interesting because she doesn't actually attack herself. She throws down like, if you know Bloons TD6, she throws down like Spike Factory stuff on the track, and enemies that walk over it take her damage. And she can also apply Electrified and Bolt, I think, and conditionally some other effects if I remember correctly, like Plasma maybe. Overall, it's kind of situational and like a gimmick unit because of how she attacks. But I've heard that if you run her on the right team, she's very strong. I'm going to throw her right here for now. And here we have the final rankings. In my opinion, it looks pretty good, but of course, you know, this tier list is just my opinion. And feel free to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, sorry for my voice is kind of going out in some of these takes, I don't know. My voice was kind of giving up throughout some of the recordings for this tier list video, but hopefully the information helps you guys out. Happy Halloween. I'm gonna go to bed now. Anyways, thank you to my channel members for making this video possible. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.